Hello, Catherine Foley is my name, and I'm going to read from my book Beyond the Breakwater. And I'm dedicating today's reading to Miriam, my sister Miriam. She's there on my left. Is that my left? Yeah. And today's chapter is, because she's in it as she's in so much, and RoseAnn is here beside me, but we don't often mention Miriam, so although she's in the stories. So chapter 61, the premiere. Excitement began to mount as the time of the guest's arrival drew closer. Even Pinion, the dog, picked up on the air of anticipation in the house in Ballinangowl, barking and jumping up on the armchairs. We had screwed 2 hooks into our sitting room ceiling and hung a pole. Then we draped a white sheet over this to create a screen. It was perfect. The homemade canvas seemed to lift the room onto another plane. Suddenly I knew how the Lumiere brothers must have felt. It would be a premiere like no other. Our sitting room was not large, but we crammed enough chairs to turn it into a mini picture house. It was to be our own cinema paradiso. We moved the couches back and put the sideboard into a corner where we assembled drinks, glasses and nibbles in readiness for the party. We hung fairy lights from the lamps and the paintings. Outside, we rolled out a strip of red carpet that RoseAnn, who was the film's director and its main instigator, had bought especially for the occasion in M.J. Curran's shop in Dungarvan. We invited many of the participants who had taken part in our documentary. Most of them were coming. We borrowed a projector from an engineering company in Cork, and we'd run the film to make sure everything was working. It was a warm, balmy night in September 2009, when cocktail dresses and off-the-shoulder tops seemed just the ticket. It was a night for a party, and it was just getting dark when the cars began to pull up. I took up my position with a camera and stood behind the red rope we'd hung by the edge of the carpet. I was at the ready, a la paparazzi, to snap the celebs as they arrived. They parked in our driveway and on the road outside. It was our own Boulevard de la Croisette. Can had come to Ballinangowl. When Carol Ann Hennessy from Middleton, who played the part of Molly Keane in a few short scenes in our film, when she arrived with her mother Angela, I asked them to wave for the cameras as they walked up to our front door. It was my recent reading of a new book about Molly Keane by her eldest daughter Sally Phipps that brought it all back to me. Making that documentary about the great Anglo-Irish writer, the creator of the masterpiece and Booker shortlisted novel Good Behaviour. Making the documentary had been a thrilling experience, possibly one of the best films my sister RoseAnn and I ever made. But by far and away the best part of having the world premiere of our half-hour film was that we celebrated it at home that night with our parents. Our mother's health was failing and our father's memory was going. There was a sense of fragility about their presence with us that night. Each of us, Miriam, RoseAnn and I, felt time was running out. We knew we had to commemorate and cherish the time we had left with them. And so on the night, Sally herself appeared with her husband, the late George Phipps, and her sister Virginia also came along with her husband Kevin Brownlow, who won a Lifetime Achievement Oscar the following year for his work in silent film. They all arrived, the girls bearing pots of jam, bottles of wine and homegrown flowers. Their friend and neighbour Tony Gallagher, a boatman and sometime filmmaker, came too, smiling and eager to see how his own contribution to our documentary would appear. Neighbours and friends came too. We packed in, introducing each one to our elderly parents. Then we took our seats, turned off the lights, and the projector hummed into life. Immediately, the lively music of long ago seduced us, along with Molly's lovely open face and her clipped upper crust accent. We were well into her story when the projector had a little upset and the film stuttered to an end. On went the lights. No need to panic, RoseAnn assured us. But my father, hemmed in on the couch at the far end of the room, stood up and made a rush towards the door. Thinking he'd been cut short and needed to get to the bathroom, I pushed bodies aside in my panic, knowing that time was of the essence. "This way, Daddy," I said, whispering. "The bathroom is this way." "What? No," he said, refusing my arm. "I want to buy a drink. Where's the bar?" I smiled apologetically at those who were seated and brought him to the sideboard, loving his irrepressible sense of occasion and his redoubtable ability to maintain the social niceties. It was a night full of memories like that, all shot through with the delight of having them there with us, Mama and Dada. And I imagined Molly Keane herself, who adored parties, scooting along on her way towards us, as described by Molly and Molly Keane alive, driving in her Morris Minor and later Renault 5s, as she was like a lone sailor on a small craft, watchful, all senses on the alert, open to adventure. So that's all for this evening. Thank you for listening, and talk to you again tomorrow. Goodbye.